maybe they look like RVs, but they are not RVs. They are restroom trailers. And I have, well, you can see it through the pictures that he has taken that they're not able to be occupied, nor are they RVs.
Okay, so you only have one RV on the property.
We only have one RV on the property, yes.
Okay. Let me ask the town, what's your response to the waiver that he's referencing?
I'm gonna have to, I'll look at his email, see when it was dated. See if it was, before the initial hearing. So we could recover, admin costs. If not, I'll look at the email, have him forward that email to me, and if that's the case, we're not seeking fines.
Okay, is there any way, since he's here, to check? Do you have the email with you, sir?
I have, yes, I do.
Can you show Mr. Suarez that email?
And as far as I'm concerned, it's only one RV that we've seen. I did take in the.
So you were not considering the restroom trailers? Okay. What's the town's, I don't see the RV ordinance online on Unicode yet. What's the waiver process? Can you refresh my memory on that?
The compliance, if you have one, it depends on the size of the lots.
Okay.
But it's either you come to compliance saying you have an affidavit saying it's your own personal use and it's unoccupied, or you register it, you get a permit for it.
Okay, so if it is his own for personal use, he can get a waiver from your ordinance. And then he doesn't need the permit. Okay, just so I understand. So Mr.
Sure.
Leon, if you could show him that email.
They did 3/10/25, but this is it.
Okay.
It was sent out to get that 25.
Mr. Suarez, can you get me that case file back from him? Thank you. Thank you. So I guess given that there's been some movement on his part. And that even predates the prior hearing. So given that there's not enough to confirm compliance as of this moment, I think what I'm going to do is reset this for the June 2nd hearing. My hope is that you won't have to come back. My hope, I'm going to encourage the town to figure out where he is in the process, and hopefully you don't have to come back. They can comply you out if in fact you're qualified for the waiver. But you've shown the email to the town, and they're not disputing the fact that you did send an email. So it's just a matter of that being processed through the town. Okay. So what I'll do is, I'm not going to make any findings relative to whether the RV is still there, because I'm not sure that matters. Your request, you should have, anytime you get a code enforcement notice, come to the hearing. If you would have come to the hearing last month, or in March, I'm sorry, with that email, you probably wouldn't have been found in violation.
Okay.
So if it ever happens again, make sure you show up, because I'm always inclined to give you as much time as I can to comply, because that's my ultimate goal is for you to come into compliance with the town's code. So with that said, I won't make any findings relative to the status of the RV, given the town has to do some more investigating as it relates to your waiver request. What I'll do, just so the record is clear, is I'll find that the notice documents in the case file are sufficient to prove that the town had good service for this morning's hearing, given the notice of hearing and the mailing documents and posting documents that accompany that. So what I'll do is I'll reset this matter for fine assessment hearing, should it be necessary, on June 2nd. Keep in touch with the town. My hope is that they'll get back to you before June 2nd, so that you don't have to spend your time coming here if in fact your waiver request is granted. But keep in touch with them, and if you do have to come back and you're not out of the woods or out of code enforcement trouble and you don't have an affidavit of compliance, make sure you come to that hearing with everything that you've done from today forward, so that I understand what you've done to get into compliance. Okay. All right. And that'll be a fine assessment hearing.
Would you like me to resend the waiver, or you sure you have it?
Yes, well,
Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And I guess just so the record is clear, in case 25020166, having found service, I'll reset this for fine assessment hearing on 6/2 at 9 a.m.
Okay, the next case will be PJG Florida Land Trust, and that is at property 13265 11th Lane North, which is case number 250300004. And the section violation is 92-010, which is RV registration, and that's item 13, the last on the agenda under fine assessment. To be the third item.
Bless you. And Mr. Suarez, is this one yours, PJG? Okay, he's the clerk has read the case into the record, so you can proceed whenever you're ready.
John Suarez, Code Enforcement Officer for the Town of Waxahachie Groves, presenting case 2503-0004. Property address is 13265 11th Lane North. This case was initially heard on March 19th, 2025, where the magistrate found for the Town of Waxahachie Groves, they were in violation of code section 92010, RV permit inspection and maintenance requirements. They were given 30 days for compliance. If not, they were to pay $100 per day for the violation thereafter. And at this time, as of May 1st, they were still a violation, RV is still there, but at this time, we'd like to let the property owners speak.
Your name?
Maria Guarderas.
Spell your last name for me.
Guarderas.
Sorry, spell it again. GUA.
Guarderas.
Thank you. And what's your relation to the land trust?
I'm the daughter of the owner.
Okay.
So we received the notice.
Okay.
And I filled the paperwork, and I sent it to my father to send it to the city because he's the owner, the primary owner of the property. I don't know if he sent it, but he's usually really responsible with those things.
Okay.
So 2 weeks ago, I came here to the office, the city, and I asked them if they have received it. They haven't. They told me they didn't. So I resent the papers to 2 emails over the weekend.
Over this past weekend?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, again, I know I should have come earlier. I'm sorry about that. But yeah.
And you're submitting what, a permit application?
Yeah.
That's what you submitted? Okay. Mr. Suarez, can I see your case file? Thank you. I don't go too far. You can look at this real quick and then she can. And I guess, Mr. Suarez, just one question, the affidavit of service that you have in here, did you post the notice of hearing to the property as well?
I only sent certified.
Okay. But you got a signed green card delivered?
No, I did not.
So this is not for the notice of hearing?
And I thought you meant like, the other green card, like the property on the sign, that is for the, that is for the final assessment.
Yeah, I need to find service. So without this, you don't have service, but they did deliver the notice of hearing, right? So you do have service that way. This is for the notice of renotice of hearing, right? Okay, so you have service that way. Let me ask you to show her the case file. He's gonna show you the case file, ma'am.
You can go over this at your leisure, but I just want to let you know on this side are the pictures of your property. And this side is the notices that we sent to you.
Okay.
You can just go over it, make sure it's.
So take a look at those documents and then I'm at the end of you're looking at the documents. I'm gonna ask you if you have any objection to the documents, okay?
Okay.
And there's a few papers there, so take as much time as you need, okay?
In some of these pictures, there's two RVs, but at the moment, there's only one RV and only one RV is gonna stay at the property.
Okay,
And it's my own RV.
it's your own RV.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have any objection aside from noting that? Do you have any objection to that case file being entered? Okay.
No.
All right, Mr. Suarez, can I see that case file back, please?
Sorry. Thank you.
So hearing what she has said, what's the town seeking today?
Sounds like she's trying to come in compliance, even sending making sure herself, bringing in the paperwork or sending the paperwork over the weekend. So the town is okay granting a 21-day extension review of paperwork. For compliance. And I kind of confer with only one RV. I don't think.
Okay. All right, so hearing that, then do you want to reset this one for the second June hearing then? To
Yes,
give
sir.
essentially a month, and no compliance date, right? Just reset?
Just reset.
Okay. All right, so what the town is saying, just so you understand, is they're not asking me to start any kind of fine today. They're asking me to give you more time because you're trying to get through the process and get complied. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just reset this matter for the June 18th. I think is the right date. Let me just make sure.
That's correct.
Yeah, June
Wednesday.
18th hearing. Make sure with the town, if you don't, that's another more than a month, but make sure if you don't get any kind of communication from the town within a week or so, come back to town hall and make sure you're getting movement on your application documents.
Okay.
There should be plenty of time for you to get through the process, but
Yeah.
if you don't just wait to get response. Do like you did before. Come in if you think something may be wrong with the email system or the right person is not getting whatever you sent. Make sure you come back to town hall. Anything else you'd like me to hear?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. And given that this is just going to be a reset, I'll do the same thing as in the prior cases. So in case 2503-0004, I'll find based on the USPS delivery confirmation for the notice of hearing and the affidavit of posting, posting that notice at town hall that the town had good service for this morning's hearing. I will reset this matter for fine assessment hearing on June 18th at 9 a.m. So hopefully, ma'am, you can get through the process and you won't have to come back on June 18th, but make sure you communicate with the town, okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Magistrate, we're back to the violation hearing section / new business, and it's item number 3, which is Teresa and Timothy Brown or Bound, and that's 13659 12th Plaza North. The case number is 25030-125. The violation section is 92-010, which is RV registration.
Morning. D'Angelo Campo, Code Compliance Officer at the Town of Waxahachie Groves. The case number is 25030-125. The respondent's name is Teresa Bone and Timothy Bone. The property address is 13659 12th Place North, Waxahachie Groves, Florida. On April 7, 2025, the NOV-NOH was sent to the respondent by certified mail to the respondent. The NOV-NOH was served by posted notice on April 5th, 2025 at the property. And at town hall, a copy of the posted notice was mailed to the property owner. We also received confirmation that the green card was also signed by the property owner. The correction date was on April 23rd, 2025. An inspection on April 28th, 2025 found the following items in violations of code sections 92-010 and 92-015. RV permanent inspection and maintenance requirements. The property has one RV on site without a permit or affidavit. Contact with the owner. No contact has been received by the property owner. The town recommends a respondent be found in violations of code sections 92-010 and 92-015. It is recommended that the respondent be given until June 4th, 2025 to correct the violations or be charged a fine not to exceed $100 per day for each day the violations continues to exist. It is also recommended that administrative costs in the amount of $234.05 be assessed and ordered to be paid to the town of Waxahachie Groves. In the event the code compliance division is not contacted as required and or the violations is not corrected, it is recommended that a fine assessment hearing be held before the special magistrate on June 18, 2025 at 9 a.m. at the town of Waxahachie Groves, 155 F Road, Waxahachie Groves, Florida.
Thank you. And for the record, is a respondent present? Seeing none. Thank you. All right, anything further? All right, in case 25030-125, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include a signed green card and an affidavit of posting, that the town had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondents are in violation of sections 92-010 and 92-015 for the RV that's on the property without the required permit registration. I'll require respondents to comply with those code sections on or before June 4th, or assess a fine of $100 per day for each day that the violation continues. In the event of noncompliance, I'll set this matter for fine assessment hearing on June 18th. And because I found respondents in violation of the listed code sections, I'll award the town its administrative costs in the amount of $234.05 for today's hearing. Next one.
Madam Magistrate, the next item on the agenda is Sadlack Landscape Management, Inc. The property address is 3765 B Road, which is case number 250400021. The violation section is 92-010 RV registration.
Good morning, D'Angelo Campo, Code Complaints Officer of the Town of Waxahachie Groves. The case number is 250400021. The respondent's the name of the Sedlock Landscape Management Inc. The property address is 3765 B Road, Waxahachie Groves, Florida. On April 7, 2025, the NOV invoice was sent to the respondent by a certified mail to the respondents. The NOV invoice was served by postal notice on April 6, 2025. At the property and at town hall, a copy of the postal notice was mailed to the property owner. We also received confirmation that the green card was signed and received by the property owner. The correction date was on April 23rd, 2025. An inspection on April 28th, 2025 found the following items remaining. Items in violation of code sections 92-010 and 92-015, RV permit, inspection and maintenance requirements. The property has 2 RVs on site without a permit or affidavit. Contact with the owner, no contact has been received by the property owner. The town recommends a respondent be found in violations of code sections 92-010 and 92-015. It is recommended that the respondent be given until June 4th, 2025 to correct the violations or be charged a fine not to exceed $100 per day for each day the violations continues to exist. It is also recommended that administrative costs in the amount of $234.05 be assessed in order to be paid of the town of Waxahachie Groves. In the event the code compliance division is not contacted as required and the violation is not corrected, it is recommended that a fine assessment hearing be held before the special magistrate on June 18th, 2025, at 9 a.m. at the town of Waxahachie Groves, 155 F Road, Waxahachie Groves, Florida. I also have a copy of this file.
Thank you. Thank you. These photos from April 6th, there's like sprinklers or something on.
Yeah.
That's an RV behind that though? Okay,
That was from the initial study.
okay.
When I visited the property. It's difficult to see visibly, but that's.
But your testimony is that there's an RV behind that. It's the same one that's in the photos that are from a later date?
Yep.
Okay. Coincidence that the sprinklers were.
Right, yeah.
All right, anything further on this one? All right, for the record, is the respondent present? Seeing none, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting and a signed certified mail, that the town had good service for this morning's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondents are in violation of section 92-010 and 92-015. I'll require a respondent to comply with those code sections on or before June 4th, or $100 a day fine will be assessed for each day that the violation continues thereafter. In the event of non-compliance, I'll require respondent to appear at the June 18th fine assessment hearing. And because I found respondent in violation of the listed code sections, I'll assess the town's administrative costs for today's hearing in the amount of $234.05.
Madam Magistrate, the next item on the agenda is item number 5, which is Janetta B. Smith. The property address is 15870 42nd Street North, which is case number 250400019. The violation section is section 92-010, which is RV registration.
The Angelo Campo, code compliance officer for the town of Waxahachie Groves. The case number is 250400019. The respondent's name is Jeanette B. Smith. The property address is 15870 42nd Street North, Waxahachie Groves, Florida. On April 7, 2025, NOV was sent to the respondent by certified mail to the respondent. The NOV was certified posted notice on April 6, 2025. At the property and at town hall. A copy of the posted notice was mailed to the property owner. The correction date was on April 23rd, 2025. An inspection on April 28th, 2025. On the following items and violations of code sections 92-010 and 92-015. RV permit inspection and maintenance requirements. The property has 3 RVs on site without permit or affidavit. Contact with the owner, no contact has been received by the property owner. The town recommends the respondent be found in violation of the code sections 92-010 or 92-015. It is recommended that the respondent be given until June 4, 2025. The corrected violations are being charged a fine not to exceed $100 per day for each day the violation continues to exist. It is also recommended that the administrative cost in the amount of $234.05 be assessed in order to be paid to the town of Waxahachie Groves. In the event the code compliance division is not contacted as required and where the violation is not corrected, it is recommended that a fine assessment hearing be held before the special magistrate on June 18, 2025, and 9 a.m. at the town of Waxahachie Groves, 155 F Road, Waxahachie Groves, Florida.
Thank you. All right, is the respondent present in this case?
No, ma'am.
Seeing none, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting and a USPS delivery confirmation that the town had good service for this morning's hearing. I'll find based on the testimony of the code enforcement officer as well as the photographs in the case file that the respondents in violation of section 92-010 and 92-015. I'll require respondent to comply with those code sections on or before June 4th. Or $100 a day fine will be assessed for each day that the violation continues thereafter. In the event of noncompliance, I'll require respondent to appear at the June 18th fine assessment hearing, and because I found respondent in violation of the listed code sections, I'll assess the town's administrative costs in the amount of $234.05 for today's hearing.
Madam Magistrate, the next item is item number 6, which is Sandra L. Calder. With the property address is 1181 West Sea Road. The case number is 250300077. The violation section is section 92-010 RV registration.
Good morning, the Amber Campbell Code Compliance Officer at the Town of Blocks at Groves. The case number is 250300077. The respondent's name is Sandra L. Calderon. The property address is 1181 West Sea Road, Loxahatchee Road, Florida. On April 17, 2025, the NOV-NOH was sent to the respondent by a certified mail to the respondents. The NOV-NOH was served by postal notice on April 17, 2025 at the property and at Town Hall. A copy of the postal notice was mailed to the property owner. The correction date was on April 29th, 2025. An inspection on May 1st, 2025 found the following items in violations of code sections 92-010 and FBC 105.1 RV permit inspection and maintenance requirements. And please remove unpermitted septic tank and obtain necessary permits. The property has one RV on site without a permit or affidavit. Contact with the owner. No contact has been received by the property owner. The town recommends the respondent be found in violations of code sections 92-010 and FBC Florida Building Code 105.1. It is recommended that the respondent be given until June 4th, 2025. To correct the violations or be charged a fine not to exceed $100 per day for each day the violations continues to exist. It is also recommended that administrative costs in the amount of $234.05 be assessed in order to be paid to the town of Loxahatchee Groves. In the event the code compliance division is not contacted as required and the violation is not corrected, it is recommended that a claims assessment hearing be held for the special magistrate on June 18, 2025 at 9 AM at the town of Loxahatchee Groves, 155 F Road, Loxahatchee Groves, Florida.
John Suarez for the town of Loxahatchee Groves. I have something additional, Your Honor, on the initial inspection. I did make contact with the property owner and there were contractors on site installing a septic tank in the rear of the property. And Mr. Calderon admitted to it. And we have pictures of that initial inspection.
Okay. So this photo of the gentleman in the backyard is what you saw?
Yes, I've seen those were the contractors' photo. It was, they were installing something.
And you talked to the respondent and he said that's what they were doing?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. How long does it take to get a permit for a septic tank?
In our experience, it wouldn't be permitted, if the Department of Health would permit it, but, in this case, I do not believe they would permit it something in there. I did contact the Department of Health. Inspector Taylor Castro,
Okay,
and he did cite them for the unpermitted septic. Also, because it is, usually granted to the Department.
okay. Does the town code allow a septic tank?
We usually go to the Department of Health, but no, it's something we would not permit according to the building code
Okay.
or building.
Okay. And did you explain that to Mr. Calderon?
I did,
Okay,
explain the violations and those come up.
okay.
How made contact with them after that initial.
Okay. All right, for the record, is the respondent present? Seeing none, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case file as composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting, that the town had good service for this morning's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the code enforcement officers that the respondent's in violation of sections 92-010 and section 105.1 of the Florida Building Code. I'll require a respondent to comply with those code sections on or before June 4th, or $100 a day fine will be assessed for each day that the violation continues thereafter. In the event of noncompliance, I'll require a respondent to appear at the June 18th fine assessment hearing. And because I found respondent in violation of those code sections, I'll assess the town's administrative costs in the amount of $234.05 for today's hearing.
Okay. The next item on the agenda, Madam Magistrate, is item 7, which is Jonathan Wish. Property address is 14735 Flamingo Drive. The case number is 250-40039, section 92-010, which is RV registration.
Morning, the info for compliance officer with the town of Los Angeles Groves. The case number is 250-40039. The respondent's name is Jonathan Wish. Property address is 14735 Flamingo Drive, Los Angeles, Florida. On April 17, 2025, the NOV was sent to the respondent by certified mail for respondents. The NOV was served by postal notice on April 17, 2025 at the property and at town hall. A copy of the postal notice was mailed to the property owner. The correction date was on April 29, 2025. An inspection on May 1st, 2025. Found the following items in violations of code sections 92-010, RV permit, inspection, and maintenance requirements. The property has one RV on site without a permit or affidavit. Contact with the owner. No contact has been received by the property owner at this time. The town recommends the respondent be found in violations of code sections 92-010. It is recommended that the respondent be given until June 4, 2025. To correct the violations, RV charged a fine not to exceed $100 per day for each day the violations continues to exist. It is also recommended that administrative costs in the amount of $234.05 be assessed in order to be paid to the town of Los Angeles Groves. In the event the code compliance division is not contacted as required, and or the violation is not corrected, it is recommended that a fine assessment hearing be held before the special magistrate on June 18, 2025, at 9 AM at the town of Waxahachie Groves, 155 F Road, Waxahachie Groves, Florida.
All right, for the record, is the respondent present? Seeing none, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case file as composite exhibit 1. Without objection, I'll find based on the service documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting, that the town had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondent's in violation of section 92-010. I'll require a respondent to comply with that code section on or before June 4th, or assess a fine of $100 per day for each day that the violation continues thereafter. In the event of noncompliance, I'll require respondent to appear at the June 18th fine assessment hearing. And because I found respondent in violation of the code section listed, I'll assess the town's administrative costs for today's hearing in the amount of $234.05.
Madam Magistrate, the next item on the agenda is item number 8, which is Green Roots LLC. The property address is 3149 C Road. The case number is 250-40033, and this violation section is 92-010 RV registration.
Good morning, Ian Campo, code compliance officer with the County of Roxanne Groves. The case number is 250-40033. The respondent's name is Green Roots LLC. The property address is 3149 C Road, Roxanne Groves, Florida. On April 11, 2025, the respondent was sent to the NOV-NOH was sent to the respondent by certified mail to the respondents. The NOV-NOH was served by posted notice on April 11, 2025. At the property and at town hall. The copy of the posted notice is mailed to the property owner. The correction date was on April 29, 2025. An inspection on May 1st, 2025. Found the following items remain. Items in violation of code sections 92-010, RV permit inspection and maintenance requirements. The properties has 2 RVs on site without a permit or affidavit. Contact with the owner. No contact has been received by the property owner at this time. The town recommends the respondent be found in violation of code section 92-010. It is recommended that the respondent be given until June 4th, 2025 to correct the violations or be charged a fine not to exceed $100 per day. For each day the violation continues to exist. It is recommended that administrative costs in the amount of $234.05 be assessed in order to be paid to the town of Roxanne Groves. In the event the code compliance division has not contacted as required and or the violation is not corrected, it is recommended that a fine assessment hearing be held with the special magistrate on June 18, 2025 at 9 a.m. at the town of Roxanne Groves, 155 F Road, Roxanne Groves, Florida.
Thank you. For the record, is the respondent present? All right, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting, that the town had good service for this morning's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file, as well as the testimony of the code enforcement officer, that the respondent's in violation of section 92-010. I'll require a respondent to comply with that code section on or before June 4th, or $100 a day fine will be assessed for each day that the violation continues thereafter. In the event of noncompliance, I'll require a respondent to appear at the June 18th fine assessment hearing. And because I found respondent in violation of the listed code sections, I'll assess the town's administrative costs in the amount of $234.05 for today's hearing.
Madam Magistrate, we're back to final assessment hearings, which is item number 9, Ram Drywall Services LLC. The property address is 14405 Tangerine Drive. The case number is 250300025. The section number, the violation section is 92-010 RV registration.
John Suarez, code enforcement officer for the town of Waxahachie Groves. Presenting case 250300025. Property address at 14405 Tangerine Drive. There was initial violation hearing date on March 19, 2025, where the magistrate found for the town that they were in violation of code section 92010. RV permit inspection maintenance requirements, where they were given 30 days for compliance. A proper notice of fine assessment hearing was sent certified mail on April 23rd, 2025. Also posted a fine assessment hearing on at Town Hall. On May 1st, 2025, we performed a re-inspection and there is still an RV on the property without an affidavit for registration permit with the town. Photographs were depicted fairly inaccurately, timestamps. There was no contact with the property owner. At this time, the code compliance division recommends the respondent be found in violation of the order dated on March 19th, 2025. Be assessed a fine provided for in the order amount of $100 per day, commencing on April 19th, 2025. And the administration cost of $234.05. In addition to my testimony, I offer the town's code enforcement file for case 250300025 as a composite exhibit to the end of the document.
Thank you. Thank you. So in this one, same thing as that other one, you sent a new notice of hearing.
Same thing, yes.
Did you also send the order finding violation?
I did not, Your Honor. I just sent the notice.
How come you're doing them like that now? My concern is a due process concern. They don't have notice of the fine amount that you're asking me to impose on them because you're not sending the order.
I mean, this came from the town lawyer, this fine assessment copy. And so I just used this order and figured the first notice violation was, I guess, good enough, Your Honor. And then I sent this as just a notice of.
Are all the rest of the fine assessments on today's agenda the same?
There.
Okay. I'm gonna after I hear all the evidence, I'm gonna grant it, but I'm gonna request in the future that you send a copy of the notice, excuse me, the order finding violation with any notices of hearing that you send. Because I do not believe that the respondent is on notice of the fine amount. There's nothing in the order finding, excuse me, the notice of violation or notice of hearing from the original hearing that indicates a fine amount. Nor is there anything in your notice. So going forward, if you're going to do it this way and you're not going to send, I think in the older days, you would just send certified mail, the order finding violation. So if you're changing process, I'm fine with, I'll defer to the town on that, but the order finding violation also needs to get sent certified mail to the respondent.
Yes, Your Honor. Sandy, did he not send the order after the initial magistrate hearing?
No, I believe, I think I were under the impression that the special magistrate sends it.
All the originals are sent to town hall that I draft and sign. I send them to town hall and then you guys typically send them certified mail to the respondents. Again, I'm fine doing a separate notice of hearing, but I just want to make sure that the respondents, I think you're setting yourself up for a problem if I'm being very candid. So
Moving forward, we'll take care of that.
yeah, moving forward, just make sure if you want to do a standalone notice of hearing, I'm fine with that,
Absolutely.
but go ahead and attach the order finding violation
Yeah.
to it. All right. In case 2503-0025. For the record, the respondent is not present. I'll enter the town's composite, excuse me, the town's evidentiary case file as composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the affidavit of service in the case file as well as the notice documents for today's hearing, which also include delivery confirmation from USPS on the certified mail that the town had good service for today's hearing. I guess, did you calculate the number of days from April 19th to today?
It was from March 19th.
I'm sorry. No, the compliance date was April.
But then,
They had until, my order says they have until April 18th to comply, right?
yes, and then we requested the fine start at April 19th.
Right. So how, do you know how many days that is between April 19th and today? Yeah. If we can figure that out, 'cause it's cleaner if the order says the number of days so that
Can
the
do that
order,
for you?
yeah, if you can give me that total number of days. That's through today. Okay. So that's a $1,600 and continuing fine. All right, and your 234.05 was for today's hearing,
Yes,
or were the administrative fees for the prior hearing paid?
not that I'm aware.
All right, so you want me to reaffirm those as well, I presume?
Yes, sir.
For the March. All right, I've entered the case file. I've found good service via the posting and USPS delivery confirmation. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the code enforcement officer that the respondents did not comply with the code section found in violation at the previous hearing, which is 92-010 by the required compliance date of April 18th. Therefore, I will assess a fine in the amount of $1,600 and continuing at $100 per day. That total fine amount is from April 19th through May 5th. And it'll continue to accrue at $100 per day until compliance is achieved. I'll award the town its administrative costs for today's hearing in the amount of $234.05, and I'll reaffirm the administrative hearing costs for the March 18th hearing, also in the amount of $234.05.
Madam Magistrate, the next item on the agenda is item number 10 on the agenda, which is the second item under fine assessment hearings. The case is Candor Farm LLC. The property address is 1180 A Road. This is case number 25020-145. The violation section is 92-010 which is RV registration.
John Suarez, code enforcement officer of the town of Oxaca Groves, presenting case 25020-145. Property address is 1180 A Road. There was a violation hearing on March 19, 2025, where the magistrate found for the town they were in violation of section 92010, RV permit inspection maintenance requirements. They were to come in compliance on April 18, 2025. Or to have a fine of $100 per day or afterwards. As of May 1st, they are still in violation. There is not a affidavit or a permit on file. A proper notice of fine assessment hearing was sent via certified mail, April 23rd, 2025. The property address was posted with the fine assessment hearing. A copy of the fine assessment hearing on April 23rd, 2025. Also, we posted at town hall a copy of the fine assessment hearing. Photographs were taken on May 1st, depicting the violation still exists. So the Code Compliance Division is recommending no response to the violation of the order dated on March 19, 2025. And be assessed a fine in order amount of $100 per day, commencing on April 19, 2025. And administration cost of $234.05. Most significantly apart on that.
Thank you. Thank you. Or have the administrative fees for the March hearing been paid?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, for the record, is a respondent present? Seeing none, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting or service that the town had good service for this morning's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file, as well as the testimony of the code enforcement officer, that the respondent did not comply with the prior order finding violation, which required them to come into compliance on or before April 18th. Therefore, I will assess a fine in the amount of $1,600 and continuing, which is a period of 16 days from April 19th through today, May 5th. That fine amount will continue to accrue at $100 per day until compliance is achieved. I'll also assess the town's administrative costs for today's hearing in the amount of $234.05, and I'll reaffirm the administrative costs. Yeah, in the amount of $234.05 for the March hearing.
Madam Magistrate, at this time, the last case on the agenda is item number 12, which is Tara Seeley. The property address is 13009 Collecting Canal Road. The case number is 25020-179. The violation section number is 92-010, which is RV registration.
one member.
Sure.
Don Suarez, code enforcement officer for the town of Waxahachie Groves, presenting case 2502-0179. Property address is 13009 Collecting Canal Road. The initial violation hearing was March 19th, 2025. Where the magistrate found for the town of Waxahachie Groves, where the property was in violation of 92010 RV permit, inspection and maintenance requirements. A notice of the fine assessment hearing was sent via certified mail on April 23rd, 2025. It was also posted at Town Hall, same date, April 23rd, 2025. As of May 1st, 2025, a re-inspection was performed. There is still an RV on site without a proper affidavit or a permit, registration not filed. Photographs were taken. Have made no contact with the property owner. The Code Compliance Division recommends the respondent be found in violation of the order that was dated March 19, 2025, and be assessed a fine in the order amount of $100 per day, commencing on April 19, 2025, as well as administration costs of $234.05. In addition to my testimony, Oliver Stone's folder exhibit examination.
And you didn't post this one, right? You just have a signed green card
Yes.
or the confirmation of delivery, I guess. Okay. For the record, is the respondent present? Seeing none, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include USPS tracking confirmation of delivery on April 26th, that the town had good service for this morning's hearing. I'll find based on the testimony of the code enforcement officer as well as the photographs in the case file that the respondents did not comply with code section 92-010 by the date required in the prior order finding violation, which was April 18th. I'll assess a fine in the amount of $1,600 and continuing at $100 per day until the violation is complied. That period of time is 16 days from April 19th to May 5th. Because I've will issue that order, I will award the town its administrative costs in the amount of $234.05 for today's hearing. Same question on the admin costs for the prior hearing. Are they unpaid still?
Unpaid.
Okay. So in addition to the fine assessment, excuse me, the administrative cost for today's fine assessment hearing, I'll also reaffirm the March admin costs in the amount of $234.05. All right. Anything further?
No, ma'am, with the exception that our next special magistrate hearing is Wednesday, May 21st, 2025 at 9 a.m.
All right. So with that, I'll adjourn at 10:27.